welcome back to Smart Martial Arts, the YouTube channel where we go over everything martial arts. In this video, the camera is super far away, so if I'm quiet, I'm sorry, I'll try to balance it later on. But in this video, we're going to be talking about stances and why I think they're important and why they all lead. So going right into it, there's, in karate, a few basic stances. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see me, but the first position that you really lead, or the first stance, really, I guess, is the horse stance. Where you go like this. I go a little bit past shoulder width apart, and I bend my knees slightly. From here, I have a good posture, so my back is straight up and down, and I'm not leaning. It's just straight up, and I'm not doing anything else. I'm just here. The next one, which I think everyone, martial arts and people who just watch it or don't know this one right here. I don't know if there's a technical term for this, but I'm going to call it the fighting stance. And I believe left foot forward, right foot back is orthodox, and then the opposite, right foot forward, left foot backward, is called southpaw. I don't know. But the other few that I know is the the cat stance, where this foot is straight that way, and then the other foot is on the balls of my feet, and I have my weight distribution roughly 80 on the back leg and 20 on the front leg. This is useful for if you're coming back from here and you kind of pull in this way, you can chamber for a kick and you don't have to worry about resetting or getting your balance right. It's just here and you can kick really quick and really fast, and you're not going to worry about losing anything while you're doing it. I don't think there's any other stances. If I think of any during this video, I'll obviously talk about them. But the main stance I wanted to talk about was this and why it's important. So I have my trusty punching bag, which is actually just an old archery target. So it's been outside for a while, which is why it kind of looks like poop. But we're also going to wake up people as it's 9:47 on Thursday. This is actually Thanksgiving. So let's just go right into this. So the main part that I think like this stance, I am an Orthodox fighter. Very rarely will I ever switch. The only time I'll switch is if I'm doing a long sparring match, like on last Saturday, I did a sparring match for about an hour, and I was like this for the majority of the time. And for whatever reason, my right hip will start to get like sore and hurt, so I'll switch here, and I'll kind of back up so I can let it rest, and then I'll go back to this. But the important thing with this is I've never actually been told why, so this is my first degree black belt opinion, as it always is, of why I like this and why I think it's important. Is one thing, it limits what you can hit. If someone else is fighting you like this, so they're going to be mirrored, it really takes away an entire half of your body. It really allows them to attack this side primarily. Because if they're over here, I wish I had someone with me, but if they're over here, right, so I'm standing right there, the majority of their kicks are again going to be on their person's or their opponent's right side. So any normal roundhouse is going to go to the right side. Kicks from this leg, you do have to be worried about, but for the most part, they're not really going to be that powerful, assuming you don't switch. But if you're just here, and you throw one to the calf or the inside of the thigh, it's not so much going to be a power kick, more than like a testing the distance, and also to kind of get you off of this. So if you're here and you step and kick, and you do that, obviously that's a second that you can go in and strike. But in this way, I like it because, one, as I said, and having going over, it limits the side and the size and the overall body that they can hit. So from here, I have to worry about this side for the most part. And when only time, realistically, I don't, from kicks anyway, is more of where this is coming from, is obviously the upper hand. But if they are good at the switch kick, which is a round kick, which is this roundhouse here, but then you just switch stances and you throw it with your back leg. I'm not very good at that, so I don't throw it. And because the first time that I did it, that I wanted to do it, I switched and kicked as the other person roundhouse, so it slid down my leg and hit my cup. Don't recommend it. But from here, it's all this way. So this is all I really have to worry about. So every block for a kick is going to be here, here. If I wanted to, I could step in. But it also, if you're fighting like this, you're not going to get power at all, because the power is the wind-up. So the round kick, let's see how loud this can be. You start it from back here. When we do in classes, like basics day, where you start in a horse stance, and then we go just through the strikes. And eventually we get to kicks, we obviously do these. But the roundhouse, I never really do it from here, because that's why. I can't really chamber and go back here. I do it from back here. So if I hear roundhouse, I step back, here, back, and here. And then I ki, obviously. But the power comes from the wind-up, where you're not really going to get the power. But from here, you can really just up that distance. Now, I guess if you were going to go here, I guess the distance could be a tell, where if you have a certain tell, or you can just see it coming for longer, which is why this kick here, the lead leg kick, is kind of secretive, because it's just bang, bang. So that's why I think being here or here is important, because you can get more power from that back leg. And obviously, what I've been going over since the beginning is the overall lack of target. And even then, if they're throwing this, you can switch and kind of back up, and they're going to miss you unless they have long reach. So if you're here, and when you do switch, right, you can throw that switch around. So if they're going to throw a right roundhouse, and you back up and switch, as soon as they're done, follow through with it. And that way, you get more power from this, as I've been mentioning. But with this stance, though, it also limits the kicks you can actually do. In Muay Thai, there's mainly two kicks. It's the teep, or the front ball kick, whatever you want to know it by, which is this, or this, and then there's the round kick, which is here, which everyone knows that. Ignore my knee, I'm old. But that. Which makes sense, because in this stance, you can't really throw much else. You can throw, because every other kick, it looks like one of those. So a kick off of this leg is going to be a teep, or it's just going to be a round kick. So, am I saying everyone should fight like this? Absolutely not, because that's just a terrible idea. But it does limit what kicks you can do. Because if I wanted to do like a side kick, I have to go from here, from a round kick, to I have to turn my entire body, which is a lengthy process in the overall scheme of things. And then my favorite kick, the hook kick, which I think I switched from the side kick, but the hook kick, it's even longer, and it gives you more time to be vulnerable than a round kick. So, in a way, this stance is really helpful because of everything we went over, but it also limits you, because the movement now is typically very like this: step, slide, or you're going to walk around kind of like this. All right. So going away from the kicks, I want to go into how this and other stance work can affect just overall power and how I throw different things. So if I'm starting from this is the overall stance that everyone does, the Orthodox style, actually we just mentioned. The main strikes you're going to throw are the jab, the cross, the hook, the uppercut, and maybe an elbow. But after that, you're going to throw a teep, a round kick, and then a knee, are your overall things. Muay Thai is based off of those. Muay Thai, the art of 8 limbs, hands, or I guess fists, elbows, knees, and shins. So this stance actually helps a lot more than people realize. One thing that I teach when we go over stance work in class is how you can actually use this stance to get more power. So let's face this way. So if I'm doing this, and I throw a jab and a cross, right? Normally people are going to do this. Jab, cross. But there's two things that a little bit of leg and hip movement can do. One, the jab for the most part, when you're first starting off, is not supposed to be a power strike. You can use it a few ways. One way is to gauge the distance of where you need to throw or where you need to get to. After that, it's a distraction, where you throw this, you get it in their face, so they have to react to something. That, or if you just want to use this hand, I do this all the time, where if I'm tired or I'm just trying to be a dick, I'll just hold it out in front of their face, and I'll wait until they go off of it. So it's not supposed to be a power strike. That's for the cross. So I throw this out to gauge the distance, to make them think and make them react. But then right after that, my stance here, I do lean a little bit forward. I do bring this and go with it just to get that distance. But with distance, when I throw this cross, my entire right side of my body, along with my arm and hand, goes into this. Because I go from here, and as I throw this, watch this. A few reasons for that. One, you get more power. I don't have a punching bag. But, so if I'm just doing this, and I'm just, that's it. And then, I didn't really change the overall power of my arm. I'll keep it the exact same. That was the exact same. So you get more power when you bring all of your body's momentum into it. So that's one reason why you see people do this. The other reason I teach is because it gives you more distance. If I do this versus this, that's probably a few inches, maybe 2 or 3, I don't really know. But that's huge. If you're not a big guy going against, I guess if you're a small guy going versus a large, tall guy, they have everything on you. They have reach, especially. So if you can close that distance, and not only that, but if you're fighting someone, I'm 5'6", if I'm fighting someone else 5'6", and I know this, not only can I hit them before they can hit me, if they don't know that, it's going to take potentially less actual strikes, because it's more powerful than what they're going to do. And then with that, when I throw this, another thing I do is I'll tuck my head into whatever side. And I do that with both. So looking straight on, the jab, and then the cross. It's another form of guard, where whenever I am teaching, or whenever I'm sparring, I like to have my hands up here. Now, do I ever do this? Yes. Do I ever do this? Absolutely. Everyone does. But from here, this is great. It makes you so much more obviously enclosed and guarded up, because it's another obstacle that they have to deal with when sparring. You can do a lot of things. It's the difference between here and here. Even a second is huge in sparring match. But the guard thing is, not only do I have this hand back here, one thing I stress all the time in teaching is before you throw a strike, the other hand has to come back to home, which is what I call this. So if you throw this, I don't do this. I don't just keep it there. I bring it back, and I always teach to touch the head before you throw. Now, I'm hypocritical because when I'm sparring, I don't do that. I don't go here and then here. As I'm coming back, I'll do it. So, with guard, here, you lose this. You lose an entire part of it. But you can kind of make up for it by doing this. Not only because it covers a part of your head, depending on how hard you tuck, which I guess I would probably tuck up to my ear, but it makes it harder for them to aim, because this is going to distort their vision, and it's going to have them focus on something. Where if their reaction is just do this, now I take it out of them, because they're going to hit my shoulder, or they're going to hit my my tricep or bicep, whatever the hell this is. And that's why for standing up, I love this. I always teach this, because you get so much stuff from it. Going away from the jab and the cross, the hook is the exact same thing. You can get so much from actual body movement. I'm going to do a right hook just because that's what I'm better at showing this with. If I'm doing this, it's not going to do anything. No matter how hard I hit it. Now, if I turn this side again, just like this, I'll turn from down here out. I get more power. And then I also turn my hips at the same time, like this. So I don't throw a hook like this. What I'll do is I'll drop it and just do this. But at the same time, I turn my torso. Bang. So it goes from this to this. Now, keeping the same amount of force between those punches, the exact same amount. So I teach that. Whenever here, use your torso. You get so much more power. And a lot of times, I just came up with this, people will probably be worried about their guard in this. The main reason why I'm not too worried about my guard in this particular one is because of where I'm using this strike. This strike and the next ones that we're going to go over are used close in. Like jab and the cross are here, where I'm trying to punch someone right where my hand is. These I use when I'm inside. Like if I have someone in a clinch, or I'm like, they're here, I'm right here, they're not going to get the power from a jab or a cross that I'm going to get from a hook in here. So I don't worry about my guard much. I always keep this one up just in case, but I don't really care to do this, because I feel like that's just, I've never practiced that. So if you use the proper stances, you can get so much power from everything, which is the main reason why people will teach the movement of the body. Uppercut is the same thing, but it's in a different motion. Instead of the twisty, kind of this way motion with everything, it's now up. So how do you do that? I was teaching my class once, and a purple belt called it the spring. And I love that, because the way I teach it is, I don't do this. As the same thing with the hook, I don't just throw it from here. What I do is, I'll drop all of it. Like, I'll lean my body down, and I'll drop it to my hip, or my belt, whatever is there. From there, I now spring back up, like this. So down, up. I can't really show this, but here versus here. Huge difference. And the reason why he called it the spring is because the way I taught him to do it was to do this. I don't, here, same time, down and then straight up. So that's how he remembered it, and that's how I teach it. Just like a spring. Load the spring, release it. And you're going to get more power because you put the momentum of your legs along with this. So boom. This is a tricky one to use because you're not going to hit that many places. You're going to hit here. You're going to hit the chin. And a lot of times you're going to miss. So this is, along with the hook, something that you throw close in. So if I'm going in, right, I guard up and I'm in now and they're right here, I can do this. But something that the people who sparred before I joined them on Saturday classes, one of the black belts, he got in once and he would throw uppercuts, but he did it in a weird way. He never missed because of where he put it. If this broom is just someone's spine and this is their head, the way he threw his uppercut is he would place it on the chest and then slide up. So he's not going to miss. And I like that. Because sure, that's cool, you can be far away. But if you're in and just drive that and slide it straight up, you're not missing anything. They could move it and you're still going to hit. And you can also follow the movement. If you're here, you're going to feel this movement here. So in close here, place it on the chest or just follow it right here. And I love that. So that's when I would use it. The other time I would use it is if I just see an opening. Like a lot of times when I try to throw a fake or a feint, whatever you want to call it, you'll throw a jab so they'll reach out. But one thing I'll do is I'll go here, here, and then I'll come back and I'll kind of do this, which goes against everything I just said. But with every strike, there are different ways to use it. So I'm not going for a knockout, driving it up, trying to send their socks off of their feet and then into the next room. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying just to reach out and do anything. So I'll go here, here, and I'll just use their wide here and this distraction to come straight up and hit it and jolt their head back. You kind of have to be creative when you start getting sparring matches with people who know what you're going to do. And that's why I also don't throw hooks like this. Like a lot of the things, you learn in great detail to throw away the detail instantly. Like if I'm here, same thing I'll do is I'll throw this jab as a distraction, as I said. So I'll throw the jab and immediately I'll come around and just hook. But I don't mean it to be a power strike, obviously, because I'm not turning everything. It's just a quick bang, going around, doing anything I can. So that's how I use those. I can go in and you can just start nailing them, or feint in just a quick little, like that kind of stuff. Same thing with the hook, or the uppercut, sorry. So here you can go in and sure you can slide it up, or, because guard is very, for the most part, horizontal. So it goes out and in. Unless there are people who love to spar like this, and in this case, don't use a hook, or don't use an uppercut. Use a hook or a jab or a cross. It makes sense. Because from down here, you're going to hit their hands. But if they're out like this is, you want to be farther out for the most part with your guard, but you also want your elbows in. If their elbows are not in, look at this huge space right here to just throw a hook in or throw an uppercut in. So here, bang, reach up and just throw anything to fill in that spot while you can. Only problem with that though is if they're here and you do this, that hand is going to come right over your hook and straight into your face. So you have to be careful with it. Now, after being hypocritical about myself and telling you things not to do, to tell you to do them, we're going to move on to knees. Again, this goes along with the hook and the uppercut of where I use it. If I'm sparring someone where my hand is right now, right, I'm not going to throw a knee. I'm not going to use the force and just convey my energy through and have them get hit by it. As YouTube might show you, where people can be behind a wall and people do this and it works, it doesn't work. That's not real. So, you use a knee when you're close in. And there's a few ways you can throw a knee. One is you can just go from here and you kind of throw your hip out, just like that. So up and then out. Another one is just the full-blown power where you kind of step back a little bit and you drive it straight up. The third one that I remember isn't so much a power strike, more than just like an annoying overtime will do something. And it looks like this. Where you're pretty much just closing the door. Where my knee comes up and this goes this way. It knocks it. But if we're going through this one, or even this one you use when you're super close and you have someone in a clinch. Here, here, and then you just drive it up. Drive it up. You're not going to reach out and pull someone into that, because they're going to punch you right in the face. So, and as I just said, the way you can get more power out of a knee, I don't really have that much experience with a knee, but you get power, it's a leg strike. But if you're not using this one, it's the here, here. You are driving it forward into them, and that hurts. Knees do not feel good. Even a light knee to your sternum area hurts for the rest of the day. So you don't have to be crazy about it. But as I said, I don't have that much experience with knees, so I'm not really going to go over it. And I did miss the elbow strikes. Now, in my style of karate, and probably other styles that use elbows, we are taught three different. There's the forward, the down, and then the up. In Muay Thai, most of the time, you see this. You see just the forward, just driving it forward. And this is I would have used this in the exact same time I'd use a hook or kind of like an overhand. So if you're close in someone, here, instead of doing this now, just drive it straight in. So here, bang. And you don't hit with the forearm. As much as I do on a bag, I don't really hit with this part. This is the part I want to hit with, right in this area. Bang. But if I'm using the punching bag or someone, just throwing it around, I'll hit with as much as I can. But this strike, as I said, is you use it close in because you're not going to have a lot of reach with this. You have so much less reach than with a cross or jab, I guess. But this is a powerful strike because you're just throwing everything behind it. And when you do that, you also, I learned in Muay Thai class, the pulley, where you saw it when I did it in the air. It's here. You grab something, normally their head, and you pull it into the elbow. And I also do the same thing I do with a cross. The exact same movement here and here. That way I get more distance with it and more power behind it. So they're all linked together. There are many times that I'm going to feint with an elbow. An elbow strike is used primarily with me, that this is it. I have this opportunity. I'm going to use it, and it's going to be everything I have. Bang. So it's you kind of have to start getting creative. I'm not going to feint to get an elbow because, again, I have to get in close. I'm not going to feint to get in close and go with that. So elbows and knees are hard to throw because you have to get close in. In order to get close in, you have to be good at doing so. So I guess to recap, this stance opens up a lot. You get power from this, you get power from this, you get power from this, you get power from this. If you don't really know how to maximize the capability of the Orthodox fighting stance, learn how to. Because I am not a very strong person. If you gave me probably like a 35-pound dumbbell, I'm not lifting it. There's no way. But I can move this entire thing with a hook. Very loudly too. But, so if you're not strong, you have to get every amount of technique right. And the technique is how you use your body and your stance. From here, you could still do it, but it's not going to be as good as if you were here. So that's why, one, I'm just used to this style, and when you switch here, it's the same principle, it's just now everything's reversed. I don't fight like this. But when I have to, one thing that we stress, me and the Shihan when we teach, and also the main instructor, is we go here, watch our hands. So my left leg is forward and my right leg is back. Left hand is forward and right hand is back. This is something that gets our advanced class super, super confused. When I switch, my hands do not stay like this. Now, I don't have a reason really why, other than probably because you're not going to throw a cross like this with this power. So, when I go from here to here, you can see that I want to do it. You have to switch your hands. You do not stay like this. You switch and you follow suit. Whichever leg is forward, that hand follows suit. I tell that to brown belts instantly. Not even 10 seconds after I tell them, they're here. So, practice that. When you go here, everything switches. Now, to go off a little bit about switch kicks, I don't switch and fight here, as I said. One, I'm not good at it. The only time that I'll do that is, as I said, with my hip that gets sore, or I want to throw a switch round kick. So here, bang, bang. Where you get the power is you use that switch like a springboard. So I don't here plant it and then go. bang, bang. I go right off of it. Here, bang. That's how you get power from it, especially if I don't practice this as much as I should. So I have to milk everything. So here, springboard right off of it. That's how you can use that footwork to do that. And if you're quick enough and they don't know you're going to do it, it kind of negates the whole thing of now, instead of worrying about just this side, if someone's good at switching and throwing the roundhouse, now you have to switch about this, because now it's uneven. Where now, instead of being mirrored, their left leg is right here, their right leg is right here. So now their new power strike, which is their new power side, is their left. It's open, fair game. All they have to do is bring that left leg and they hit everything important. So, to recap again, learn how to use your torso and your body in everything you do. Learn how to use the switch kick to whatever it is you can do. Going back to the roundhouse kicks, this will be the last thing that I do, is what you kick with. I'm not 100% sure about this. In Muay Thai, you use the shin. That I know for a fact. You use the shin in Muay Thai. But in karate, most of the time, I believe people kick with their foot. So that's why if you're a hardcore Muay Thai guy, and you see people do this, you're like, no, 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 no. It's probably because they watch a style of karate or they do a style of karate. So, it's not right or wrong, whichever way you do. I barely kick with my shin, because from here, perfect distance for me to kick with my foot, I have to get in close to use my shin. So it's just a distance, plus I don't practice it very well. But you use your shin for a lot of other things. Like in Muay Thai, as I said, you kick with your shin, you also block with your shin. A roundhouse block, one of the ones you can do, it's called a shield block. It looks just like this. I don't know if my hand or my arm is as important as this, but when they throw it, assuming they're going to kick around here, you meet it with this. You take the impact of their shin to your shin, and it hurts. But condition, I'm not going to get into that, I don't know all about it, but shin condition, just like that. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. I don't know which you actually kick with, but Muay Thai, shin, karate, the top of the foot. And then, of course, other kicks you kick with different things, but we're not going to get into that. We already did. I hope everything made sense. If you disagree or want me to add something in a video, want me to redo this, leave it in the comments below. If you're cool with it, leave a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.